There it is, guys. Welcome to the channel. I'm Justin Davis. Today I'm checking out the Diatone C25 MK2 dual mount 4S Cinewhoop. That's right, new prop guards. We have carbon fiber protection underneath the bottom of it. And I did not get a mount for a decased GoPro, but it's interesting because you have a rear view facing camera with a stubby antenna back here. I have my Firefly X riding on the back today for this honest review, and we have the Insta360 Go 2 on the front. I'm going to show you both those camera size, and we're going to do a durability test today, something that you might want to consider if you're thinking about buying this one. And as always, in my honest reviews, I'm going to show you the result of my crash test. Unexpectedly, we hit the concrete, and I found the weakest link on this quad, so I'm going to show you what that is in this review. And maybe Diatone will upgrade that for you guys in the future. But I was also flying, to give Diatone some credit, a little larger battery than what you'd normally fly on here, just to try to get a little bit longer flight time, as always. But yeah, that battery ejected and we had some damage. So let's go ahead and do the flight test, and I'll show you the results on the bench after we get back from the flight test. Enjoy the flight. Alright, my friends, let's go ahead and get it off the ground. This might be confusing to look at, but I labeled everything. Skyzone DVR on the top right, Firefly X follow cam on the rear view, and shot on the Insta360 Go for the front view. Now, you can get some pretty cool shots with the rear view camera. I think this is kind of a cool concept. Again, I'd like to see this on more quads, especially for shots like this. I'm just going to switch it right now so you can see the rear view on the full screen, and check out this little fly through. That's kind of cool. Like, revealing shots on a rear camera are really nice. And I wanted to also fly further out in the field. I did have some kind of issues with that short little stubby antenna. Keep an eye on the Skyzone DVR at the top right. You're going to see like some breakup at different points during this flight. You're going to, we're only flying 25 milliwatt here, so a lot of times I like to test that out for you guys. But I'm going to fly a little further out in the field. We're going to put that back up on the screen here in a minute, but I just wanted to check out at a high altitude what the rear view camera looks like up in the air. And you're going to have to play around with the camera angle. I don't feel like mine was maybe totally right during this flight, but it's kind of cool to see way up high in the field that I'm used to flying. I saw a little bit of stutter there on that Firefly X camera on that turn right there, that pan. There's not a lot of stabilization on the Firefly X, but it does a pretty good job. But it also reveals that the tune is not totally perfect. So there's a little bit of wobbles, but this is interesting here. Fly through and down this road that we've flown down before. Check this out on the rear view, full screen. Isn't that fun? That's kind of cool. I like to do that at high speed, maybe just speed it up through there. That would be super cool. But for slow, controlled cinema shots, and if you want to do any kind of reveals, that's pretty cool, like a big building or a landmark or something. Now, coming back through, we're going to fly through some trees again, and I'm going to put that rear view camera up again, up in the top left there. That's pretty cool. Are you confused by all of the images on the screen? You should be. Now, when we come around the screen, when we come around the tree here, not the screen, crash. I lost total video right there. So durability check. All right, my guys, durability test. Just went down on the concrete. Hopefully you can hear my voice over the wind. There's a little bit of wind right now. It's kind of windy up there and overcast. All of that again today, but I wanted to fly this today for you guys, and let's see what happened. Let's see if any of it broke. I mean, we went straight into the concrete. So, okay. Yep. Looks like we broke some stuff. So, I'm gonna unplug that before it gets shorted out. Looks like the lens on the Firefly is okay. That's good. All right, all that's good. I'm gonna put that in my pocket. This carbon top plate broke off, so let's look at that. Carbon top plate, clean off. So it looks like, this is an 1100 milliamp pack. It's probably a little bigger than is recommended on this quad, but that was a hard hit. Whenever you crash on concrete, stuff is bound to break. But I make honest reviews, guys.
I have to say the overall flight characteristic of it was good. This is still recording, so I'm gonna stop that. Flight characteristic was good. 4S, this thing is fun. It will freestyle. It will cinema. It'll carry 2 cameras, no problem. I had a lot of fun kind of cruising with this one out there. But maybe Diatone can send me a new top plate. I feel like that should be thicker. You guys see that right there? I'm just gonna stop so you guys can see that. That thing looks like 2mm, maybe. And it has 4 screws on it, so you can remove it and get to the VTX and the flight controller. But yeah, as you can see, that is the weak spot of this particular design. And that could have fried my VTX. So it's right over top of the VTX. You might want to put a piece of something between that top plate and the VTX. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the flight test. Let's go back to the studio bench and let's talk about this thing a little more in depth. And I'll look it over a little more for you just to make sure there's no extra hidden damage here. And I'll turn it on again and see if I can get all my video systems and everything back up. But durable frame, the frame did not break. Got some really deep scratches on it. And I think it'll fly again, no problem. Just need a new top plate. All right, here we go.
All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the meat of this honest review. And I'm going to keep it honest with you guys. I found kind of the issue that needs to be addressed with this quad. And I know Diatone Carl is going to jump right on this for you guys. The elephant in the room. It's the top plate. The top plate is 1mm. And as I was walking back from that crash, I was looking at it, and when you have a battery eject off a quad, you think, first of all, the strap broke. The strap's totally intact. But then I noticed the piece of carbon on the bottom. And then I looked again on the quad, and it was the top plate. There's 4 bolts that normally hold this top plate on. And I commented right after the crash, without knowing the specs, that this looked like 2 to 1.5mm. When I got back and actually looked at the specs on the website, I was shocked. It's 1mm top plate on a 2.5-inch 4S 850 milliamp battery toting quad. What the H is going on here? The engineers got a little happy with their weight reduction, it seems. I know they're trying to make this under 250 grams for you guys, but as it sits on the scale, that became compromised. 148 grams with the 2 TPU mounts front and back on there with the full-size antenna. You can also run this little stubby. I don't recommend that because when I came around that tree, having the stubby on there, that compromised my signal back to my goggles. My video went out and I couldn't see a damn thing, and I crashed at the concrete. The one place on the field that I did not want to crash. I'd rather crash out in the grass. I think it would have probably been okay, but the weight of the 4S 1100 battery just totally compromised that top plate. So that's the first issue on the quad. You can see my 1100 from Eachine is not that much bigger than the 850. I feel like you could easily run an 1100 on any 2.5-inch quad out there. I mean, it's only a tiny bit more weight on this 4S setup. And I've comfortably ran this 1100 on tons of my 4S to 2.5-inch quads, no problem. Now with the 4S 850, that's getting you up to 238 grams, so that's under 250 grams. Now the problem is that if you want to keep it under 250 for a 2-inch series, adding the Go 2 gets you above 250. So you're going to have to shave down your battery weight to maybe 4S 550 or something. Then it's going to give you about a 3-minute flight time. With the 850, you're going to rock about 5 minutes if you're cruising. 265 with the front camera, and then the rear view camera, which is my Firefly X Lite, that's getting us up to above 300 grams. So 305 grams is approaching a much bigger quad weight. So all that work to shave down your frame ended up having a compromise here. So that's not good. I feel like Diatone should thicken this up to maybe a 2mm would be better, maybe even 3mm. I don't know at this point. I feel like the front and back plate are probably okay the way they are. If you look on here, there is a bolt here and 2 bolts here. So we have 4 bolts holding that on. The problem also that I thought was that after I looked at this, the way it sits, it's extremely close to the VTX right here. Let's see if I can get it into focus. You see that little thin sliver right there? That's carbon. If that had touched that metal post right there, it might have arced and burnt out my VTX during that crash. So if I'd have picked it up wrong while it was plugged in, that would have pretty much fried everything, possibly my motors too. Now, the next thing that I thought about when I looked at this quad was, aside from the excitement of dual cameras and have some nice motors on here, great power 4S, was that, hey, they moved the USB-C cable and they rerouted it. There's no actual physical connector on there, so no USB-C port on this flight controller at all. You see that there? There's nothing there. It's rerouted to this one. So the problem with that was mine, it didn't work. No matter what cable I used, the one in the box that I got in this nice soft case that Diatone gave me, it did not work. No cable worked, so my OSD, if you notice in my DVR, it's down off the screen. I couldn't adjust it in Betaflight to bring it up. That was a problem, so this never worked for me. Thank God the arm switch and the modes worked on my transmitter, but I was pretty much flying blind of how much power I had left in the quad. The next thing that I noticed on this as well, let's just keep these honest reviews going here, is that the bottom plate on here, I think aesthetically, this is beautiful. I love this. These little carbon venting sort of bottom plate guards on here, I think they're mostly for looks. They're kind of nice in a softer environment, but I knew these were going to break. I knew I was going to maybe have a hard bouncy landing. If you had a pad on here to maybe keep it up off the ground just a little bit on a solid belly in, it might protect it. But in my frontal crash, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Hitting the concrete, you're going to break stuff. This spar right here broke, and this one broke on this side. This one survived. A little bit of damage on that, but the purple frame here, this thing is a beast. So great job on the frame itself. I think that they were thinking that since this frame is, I mean, literally this thing is like little tykes. I think a 2-year-old could play with this and not figure out how to break it. Even my twins could probably play with this all day and not break it somehow. But it flexes in the center right here, but the front to back on the prop guards is super, super rigid. So I can see that surviving a concrete crash. You've got dual bracing all the way around here and one thick one right in the middle of the core. So I think engineering-wise, this thing is a beast. You also have a bottom spot for a battery if you wanted to run a strap through that. So that was cool that the engineer thought about that for you guys. And it seems I got an extra one in this case. And extras, as far as extra goes, Diatone's nice. They give you a lot of extras, tons of extra hardware. I've got extra cables in here. I've got an extra set of the props. These are ducted 63mm flash gem fan props. Pretty sweet there. Cable for the RXSR receiver. And the price on this guy is on the website around $229. But I was surprised about the few things that came to light during my test. So I think durability-wise, the Cinelog series is going to beat out the Taycan series. Even though the Taycan series is a favorite, it's a huge crowd favorite out there, Diatone quality is usually good for me. The Taycan series has been super popular. People love it. But these are just the things that maybe that Diatone will address for maybe an update to this frame. I think if you guys could get maybe a 2mm top plate, that might hold up in a really hard frontal crash. But anything larger than like a 650 milliamp may just break that clean off, like what happened to mine. And I was so surprised. Like you see, there's still a bunch of sharp edges that I need to pull off here, just sticking up everywhere. So yeah, I felt like the video that I got from this was cool. It was spectacular. I do not like the stubby antenna on there at all because it kind of hides it down here. I don't recommend that. Put the longer one on here, bend it down, and that's going to give you much better clearance. When I was flying and I had my crash, I was flying the stubby. So if you get the stubby, just maybe put these on your goggles or something, or use it on another quad that has more clearance than back here in between this spot right here. Not a good spot. Plus your camera's also blocking it. But cool idea, great concept, and I like to see more of these dual camera setups coming out from different companies. And hopefully you enjoyed my honest review today of the C25 MK2. It is nice. Power to weight ratio is good. It feels okay on the high throttle, but just a few design changes. It's not going to be quite as durable as your big brother Cinelog 35. But if you want to check this out in the link down below, and also my recommended top 5 Cinewhoops, you can do that as well. Hopefully all my testing here on the channel benefits you guys and what you want to buy next. Also, be sure to comment down below on this video and subscribe, because I'm giving away that Flywoo Cine Race coming up. $400, 4S little ELRS 2.4 gigahertz series quad. Super awesome. Really nice. DJI quad, giving it away on the channel. Guys, take care, be well, fly safe, and I'll see you on the next one.